We are back on MorningLine. Thanks for joining us. Our guest is Barbara McGinnis, elder care attorney. The number is 737-7587. If you would like to join in the conversation, we're talking about a wide range of subjects. If you have questions or comments about wills and power of attorney, things like this. And of course, during COVID, Barbara, I'm sorry I interrupted you. You were in the middle of a thought a moment ago and we had to take a break. But yeah, the key right now is trying to manage how best you can with your loved ones who are in assisted living during COVID, especially during the holidays. You know, we just made it through Thanksgiving, and the concern there was that maybe there's going to be more exposures and the like. I just know I was super careful when it came to our folks, and you know, for the first time in a long time, you know, we didn't all have Thanksgiving together.
Right, absolutely. And so if your loved one, even though they want to come home for the holidays, you may want to discourage that. And have them stay in the facility, maintain their safe, restricted environment. And you're going to visit however best you can. If that's a window visit, if that's a call, if that's a video conference, you may want to schedule ahead of time with the facility if your person needs assistance from staff to make sure this can happen. And be mindful that everybody's not going to be able to visit on Christmas morning, right? I mean, staff can't assist all the people at the same time. So make sure that you're realistic about that, schedule ahead of time if at all possible. And if you are questioning their visitation policies, get them in writing from the facility about what can happen and what can't happen.
I think, yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Get it from writing and hold it in place there. All right. Well, listen, we may get some calls along those lines, but I wanted to ask you, whenever you or Tim come on, I like to kind of just to put it out there for what you're dealing with now, or what issues maybe that we should talk about this time of year, or some of what you've been handling with some of your clients right now, beyond this kind of stuff with assisted living.
Sure. We still have people coming in wanting to do their estate plan, probably double the normal number of folks that we have coming in wanting to put their estate plan in order. I don't know whether they're motivated by the pandemic or not, but we have a lot of folks doing that, which is awesome. I think every adult needs an estate plan, and the older you get, probably when you're in your 50s and 60s, you really should start opening your mind to planning for long-term care. Yesterday, I talked to a family, and the dad, who we were planning for, had everything he thought in place to pass on his assets to his children. So he kind of planned to die. He did not plan to become disabled or incapacitated, which is where he is today. Meaning there's not a plan in place on how to protect assets or properly use assets other than just spending them on care. And now it may be totally irrelevant that he's got the P.2 designations on his bank account because the money's all going to be used to take care of the nursing home. That's where we come in and can kind of help that family at least mitigate the loss. And part of that is it's not necessarily about ensuring the children's inheritance. It's ensuring the elders access to money for the rest of their life, making sure assets can be properly used for the rest of their life. Oftentimes, a trust becomes part of that. Another thing that is increasing frequency because people's reluctance to go into facilities, whether it's assisted living or nursing home, is how to plan for care at home. And that you can actually use the TennCare benefit to provide care in the home or a community-like setting. It's different. It's a different type of program in one regard. They don't provide dollars, they provide caregivers. So in the nursing home, TennCare actually subsidizes a person's income to meet the contracted rate for the facility. And so that's how they pay for care in the nursing home. But you can still use the TennCare benefit to help get care in the home and to help stretch your savings to be used over the rest of your life by Well, it reduces your out-of-pocket expense.
Right.
It can be used to reduce your out-of-pocket expense. So there is a home program with TennCare. I was saying, I think, to Mary Elena when we were getting ready, I worry that there's a lot of people sitting at home not getting the care they need, just doing without because of either fear or uncertainty right now. And then maybe they don't want people in their home. Maybe they don't know how to get people into their home to help provide care. It's very concerning.
And well, that's why we have attorneys like yourself who deal with issues just like this. There's always ways to do it, even during a pandemic. And listen, we have a phone call for you. Let's go to Jim. Jim, good morning. Hi, Jim.
Good morning.
Good morning. What's on your mind?
Okay, it has to do with probate.
Okay.
Only my dad is living. My mom is deceased. Dad has a will, and everything is written in there to go to my sister and me. About all he has is a car and a house. And I'm the administrator of the will that's written down. Can I handle it myself, these transfer of these assets, without going through probate?
Okay.
It's really a good question, a valid question, because now a will is designed to be probated. As a will only records the testator, that's the person who writes the will, records the testator's intent. That's why a will is preferable than dying without a will. So it passes the way you want it to, not the plan for intestate succession that the state has determined. But a will is designed to be probated. I would recommend legal counsel during the probate process because there's a lot of documents that go along with reporting to the court. The asset that most likely you described needs the probate process is actually the house. A car is going to pass much like any other personal property. There's a mechanism through the clerk's office to do an affidavit and transfer a car. And the reason the house is going to require probate is title companies want to see that clear title. And one of the things that happens during the probate process is that it cuts off claims of creditors. You know, we see those little notices in the paper about probate was open, we have the creditor period. And so that cuts off the claims of creditors. Title companies then know that there's no encumbrances, that the house is free and clear.
Did that answer your question, sir, Jim?
Okay, good. Thanks.
Okay, good. Just want to make sure we got that. If you would, just for the laymen out there that maybe aren't exactly clear, define probate for us, would you? I mean, just to lay that out.
Sure.
I think what it is, but I think I'd have trouble giving it a clear definition. What is probate in the probate court?
Probate is court-supervised estate administration.
Okay.
You can probate with or without a will, but the probate process means that you go to court basically with an attorney. You promise that you're going to do a good job administering the estate, and that you're going to do it under the supervision of the court, meaning that there's usually accountings and inventory that has to be produced at requisite time frames, and then prove that the person that was supposed to receive assets in the estate received it and that creditors are taken care of. And then you can finally close a probate estate. You can count on it taking at least somewhere at the very least 6 months, probably closer to a year from start to finish.
So, I mean, isn't it not true then that one reason people want to hire people like you is because if you get your affairs in proper order, there's a chance that your heirs could avoid having to deal with probate. And probate's not a bad thing, but it usually steps in when there are questions, correct? And you know, as you just said with dealing with wills, but I mean, there are ways you can avoid probate so that they don't have to go through that headache and, frankly, the expense.
Some estates require probate,
Okay,
or they're designed around the probate process. You certainly can deal with any, if you're disinheriting children, any will contests, those kind of things. Or if your estate plan includes the creation of a testamentary trust. That means a trust for one of your remainder beneficiaries to be created out of your will. Then you're designed to have probate. Again, it's not a bad thing, but it's an extra hassle in life for your heirs for the most part. So most people are going to want to try to work to avoid probate. This is one of the times when I'd say work to avoid probate under the counsel of an attorney, not under your bank teller's advice. We get a lot of times that folks come in and say, well, my person at the bank told me to do this and this and this, and it doesn't comport with the goals of their estate plan. Well-meaning advice, but still, you don't need to be careful where you get your estate planning advice from. I don't mean to alienate bank tellers, but I'm just saying, everybody needs to stay in their own lane. And life can be complicated. I think folks have a lot more complicated lives. Even if they don't have a lot of money, it still can be complicated because we're a largely blended family society. Over 50% of all families are blended families. And the more people you have in your life, promise, the more complicated it can become.
On that note, let's take a quick break. More of our conversation with the fantastic Barbara McGinnis right after this. Stay with us.